Hi, my name is Rhonda Swan, and I am the host today of this incredible interview series with 6 amazing women. In fact, I have 6 of the authors of the best-selling book, Designed to Lead, The DNA of the Feminine Leader. You know, the world has shifted and the world has changed and it has gone feminine. What's happening in our world right now? And these women are here to showcase and to talk about what their thoughts are and their vision is of feminine leadership. From Rosa Parks to Oprah Winfrey to Lady Diana, there has been women around the world that have broken the rules. They've changed the way that society looks at femininity, right? We talk so often about masculine, feminine energy, and where does their place? Is it in business? Women today are holding CEO positions. They're running major corporations, and more importantly, women have also taken a seat at some of the top and the most wealthiest women around the world. It's no longer a men-driven world. Women are here to make a shift. It all started in presidency, right? With Clinton started and ran for presidency, and then now Marianne Williamson. Women are coming up into this world and are making changes, and the world deserves to learn more. So these ladies today are going to talk about and going to share with you their views and their thoughts on where feminine leadership is going and the direction that we need to take to bring this collective energy and to shift the consciousness of the world. So without any further ado, I want to introduce the very first author of Designed to Lead. Her name is Kathi Tait, and she's known as the Bald Warrior. Kathi is in Australia, and we are going to learn more about her thoughts. But before we do, I'd like to introduce Kathi a bit more. Kathi is an author, she's a speaker, podcaster, and she's also a coach and accountant. She founded the Bald Warrior movement to spread awareness of alopecia and fight social norms around body image. The Bald Warrior movement produces the 100 Faces series of books bringing global awareness to these core issues plaguing society today. Her podcast, Bald and Blonde Mindset Evolution, sees Kathi's team up with another coach from the other side of the world to bring practical help to transforming mindsets. Kathi also works on one of the most selected businesses to overhaul their business systems. She works with entrepreneurs and business owners to transform their mindset and help them grow their revenue. Kathi, I am so excited to have you share on this series today and your vision on where is feminine leadership going. Share with us right now what your thoughts are and your mindset on what the world deserves from the feminine leadership movement.
Hey, Rhonda, and thanks for having me here today. It is really exciting to be part of this book with these amazing women and to share my story with the world. And of course, my story is one that started as I was a really young child and suffered some extreme trauma. And that caused my hair to fall out as a little girl. And for the next 30 years, I suffered bullying, ostracization, pressure from social norms. I bowed to this pressure. I wore wigs and I hid myself and I pretended to be like everybody else. And for me, my rise of femininity came in my 40s when I took my power back from my baldness that had been plaguing me for my whole life and decided to wear it with pride instead of hiding from it. And for me, feminine leadership is the same thing. We've got to draw out of ourselves those qualities that make us amazing mothers, make us amazing friends, make us really great, passionate, creative people, and use those qualities as strengths and shine with them. For me, some of those qualities are empathy and compassion and understanding and patience. And those are the things that I needed as a little girl. Instead of being judged and criticized and looked down upon, I needed those feminine qualities to nurture me. And it just didn't happen. And so I went through a bit of a wall of fire where I had to teach myself these things. And so it took me a really long time. I coped all through my life being emotionally direct. I pretty much put everything in boxes. And I had a box over here for my son. I had a box over here for work. I had a box for study. I had a box for friends. And I kind of coped by keeping everything separate. But the truth is that I was letting this condition I had actually control my life and suppress all of the good things that I should have been doing by experiencing relationships and allowing myself to be vulnerable with other people. And I just wasn't able to bring myself to do that all through my 20s and 30s. So when I had this sort of life-changing epiphany, I guess, about myself, that it was actually okay to be different and it was okay to be bold, and it didn't mean I wasn't feminine. I just had to find my own version of it that suited me, that I could use as my power. And so I tattooed my head. And I'm sure that you guys will see some video and see us all in the book, and you'll see my head and you'll go, wow, did that hurt? Because that is what everybody asked me. And sure, it hurt, but the power of taking control of my alopecia and making it into a piece of art for myself was my final piece of puzzle for me to be able to change my life and change the way I actually saw the world. And through this sort of process, I realized that I could help and inspire millions of other women around the world who are also going through this. And so that's why I created the Bald Warrior movement. One, just spread awareness of what it is, but also to inspire other people to take their power back and take control back of this. Social norms have really ground us down over centuries, and not only when it comes to body image, but also when it comes to things like equality in the workplace, which is a theme that goes hand in hand with the rise of femininity, because we have been ostracized as women in the workplace. We have been kept down. We have had to fight another set of social norms in order to get equality. But did you know that there are actually millions of women out there right now who are too scared to go into work without a wig on for fear of being fired? And I was once one of those women. And that, to me, is a global injustice that needs to be righted. So I want to use this book to get that message out and to stand on this platform and say to you, let's take our power back, ladies. Whether you have alopecia or not, ditch the wigs, shave your head, empower yourself. It will change your life. I can guarantee it. Social norms can only control us if we allow them to, and that is what we are doing. So I want to start inspiring people around the world to actually start living outside of those social norms and say, it's my choice, it's not your choice, and this is how I'm going to do it. And so that's part of my story and why I'm here, and why I believe that the power of femininity right now is at its strongest, and we can use those emotions and capabilities that we have of women that have seemed to be weak but are actually extremely powerful to start changing the world bit by bit.
Wow, Kathi, that is so inspiring. Thank you for that. I mean, I really cannot even wait, not only for our audience to read more deeply about your chapter. Being a woman that is now walking through the world bold and proud with a shaved, or not a shaved head, a bald head now with a tattoo that says, look, women, it's okay. Wow, that is probably one of the most inspiring even thoughts for our audience and those going to be reading the book. And if you are inspired more, please continue. We can't wait for you to read Kathi's chapter. But I have someone now next that I'm going to be interviewing, we're going to learn from. This woman is an absolute powerhouse. She comes all the way from Canada. She's got a young son, and she's done some amazing things to not only inspire those around her, but also to help bring her son up in a world that appreciates and loves what the world has to offer. So I want to introduce Jodi Vetterl out of Canada. She's also the CEO of Beyond the Banks. She has a 20-year career in high-tech software sales, working for a Fortune 100 company, and has won multiple sales achievement awards, closed 7-digit deals, and enjoyed several presidential club trips around the world. Desiring a career outside of corporate America, Jodi has spent the last 17 years building up a real estate portfolio in both the USA and Canada, and as a passive investor utilizing several strategies, including private money lending. As a result of these strategies, Jodi was able to retire from corporate America in her mid-40s to fulfill her passions around writing, speaking, and consulting. Jodi shares these strategies in her book, Beyond the Banks, and her program, Beyond the Banks Academy, because she enjoys educating others with the resources and the knowledge that has helped her create life balance in a more heartful way. Jodi is an author of Beyond the Banks, Success Strategies in Real Estate as a Private Lender. Jodi, I am so excited to share with our viewers and our upcoming readers of the book, Designed to Lead, because of your background. Would you please share with everyone, what is your vision on feminine leadership, and where do you think the world needs to go today?
Well, thank you, Rhonda. That was really beautiful, and I'm so honored to be on this panel and writing the book with all of these amazing women. They inspire me on a daily basis, and I'm just so honored. For me, really, what I believe is the future, the present and the future of the feminine leader is really somebody who understands how to take control of their finances. It's somebody who really understands not only financial literacy, but also taking those extra steps to learn about how to reduce those debt, how to build wealth for themselves, how to be in control of their financial future. Because at the end of the day, when we're not in control of our financial future, what ends up happening is we end up being dependent on others. And when we're dependent on others, whether it's a partner or the government, we lose ourself, we lose our voice, we can lose our self-esteem, our self-worth, our self-expression. And so it's very fundamental that we take the time to learn what we need to learn to take care of ourselves, to find that financial foundation, so that we don't have to actually depend on anyone. I think that that is so important. And even more so, what I see the feminine leader doing these days is really taking that extra step to teach their kids financial literacy. And it's so wonderful to see and to be witness to all of these amazing women that are doing kidpreneur programs for their kids. I've been inspired by kidpreneur programs since before I even had a child. And I always thought, if I ever had a child, I'm definitely going to be doing that. And so as a result, having a 5-year-old, we're just launching our first kidpreneur program and working with another famous kidpreneur, Swan. And so it's a really fascinating, fun thing to do. And the whole time, my child is learning the importance of business, of follow through. He's learning some things about finances. And I just think that, it is just so important, because financial literacy at the end of the day is not taught in school. And it's just something that that's really important, because it's our foundation. And so, yeah, I really believe that we have a really amazing platform to stand up and be heard, and it is our time. And yeah, that's pretty much what I have to share for now.
I love it, Jodi. I mean, if you think about the women that are viewing and watching, financial literacy is not usually something that women always would tap into, and now you're giving them permission to say, look, women, as feminine leadership, we should understand our finances. We should be able to stand boldly and make decisions for our family. You leaving your corporate position to be with your child didn't mean you're going home to only just be a mother. You went home to build your financial future with your child, and creating childpreneur programs that's a true witness to and a testimony to what women can do today. And I know that in your chapter, Jodi, you are going to go even deeper into how women can really tap into this. And I'm so excited and really grateful to be on this stage with you as well. Thank you so much. Next, guys, I'm going to be introducing an amazing woman. Her name is Ondi Laure, and she's actually in all the way coming from the United States. She's in Montana, but this woman is going to shock you a bit because most of her day she spends riding on a horse in a cattle field. Now, most women do not necessarily represent themselves as a woman that is a cattle farmer, and she is. She's on the range every day in Montana. And so I'd love to introduce Ondi Laure, but even in a more in-depth way. Ondi's she enriches the lives of readers. She's an author. She teaches people how to create their books. She does it through her writing craft and realizing the magnificent power that story possesses in reminding us of the savagery of the past. She writes of the struggles and glories of today, and she brings stories to her readers that bring hope for a better future. Ondi is an author of both fiction and nonfiction books and articles. She connects with Ondi through her stories, and through Story Launcher is her company. And she allows and teaches those to not only publish, but to launch their book. Ondi, thank you so much for being here. Can you please go into depth about what is your vision of feminine leadership, and what are you taking a stand for women today, including all of your daughters and your sons?
Thank you, Rhonda. What a privilege it is to be here today and to be part of this group. I can't thank you and your team enough. I'm flattered and honored to be part of this book and among these like-minded women and these powerful leaders of tomorrow. So thank you. And yes, I am a cowgirl. I'm a rancher in northern Wyoming, and I am a cowgirl, and I have been in a man's world forever. And so, yes, I come to this table with a very unique perspective as a woman, being brought up and working in a man's world for 2 decades now in the cattle industry. So what my vision for the future of feminine leadership? Well, as a novelist and a fiction writer and a publisher, my vision for the future of feminine leadership, it's that of an urgent necessity, an urgency in that the feminine style of leadership is so crucial right now to our existence as we know it in our world today, and it's necessary to a healthy evolution for our human race. Now, this sounds deep, but it's so paramount as a novelist, and I write historical fiction that we first must begin to become knowledgeable in the history of feminine leadership. Whereas in my upcoming novel, Morning Star, where I really dive deep into this whole facet, and that the term Sophia in biblical terms, pre-canon era, Sophia was referencing the feminine and also wisdom countless times in the Bible, and it was changed. So this role of feminine leadership, how it played in the predating the biblical race, at the biblical times. We need to learn about that and be knowledgeable of that. And then we must gain knowledge of why this knowledge was suppressed and who suppressed the truths during this pre-canon era. We have to be aware of that and be cognizant of this history. And then we also need to become conscious of the suppression of the feminine, and then how it's the hints of its awakening as early as the Renaissance times, and where it began to become emerged and part of society, and then dumbed down again and again and again and again and again. So because of this repression of the feminine qualities across the millennium, and where the masculine traits were prevailing and became superior, traits such as power and control became so acceptable in the patriarchal societies as we know them today. And we're stepping into an era in our evolution as humans. We all know that. We're all aware of that. And my vision for the future of the feminine leadership now is where our feminine qualities, grace and love, because those are the most efficient of all leadership styles, are so desperately needed right now in this time. And only through feminine leadership and through our style that women, as we naturally and readily possess, and where men also have those qualities and those traits, are the qualities that will sustain a society to thrive in the future to come. Because the pendulum is shifting. The pendulum of leadership in our society is shifting, where control and structure, it's swung too far to one side. And we're on the brink of experiencing a correction in the balancing of effective leadership. Now,
Wow, Ondi, I'm so inspired, because when you think about it, and especially those that are not only watching this series and this interview series, but that are going to tap more deeply into the purpose of why we are writing this book, right? And you just really revealed it. It's the repression of feminine leadership. It's the repression of women that have taken place. Now, we're not standing on a stage saying we're feminists. We're saying we are here. Right? The world deserves both, not only feminine energy, masculine energy, but the world is being led, right? And has been pushed down. Now, here we are, not only emerging as being examples for our children, we're being examples for what women can do, but more importantly, we're shifting the way the world is being viewed, right? There's a reason why right now we are experiencing a pandemic, right? Things are happening. But more importantly, what's happening now is that we're all being mindful. We're now actually thinking, what can we do for the world? What does the world need? And I believe that the earth is breathing, and Mother Earth is saying, let me have my planet back. And here are now these amazing women that are emerging with thought. Ondi, I'm so excited to not only learn more about what you're going to be placing in the chapter, but really to tap more deeply into your knowledge of what you've done. And as a cattle rancher, a woman riding a horse every day, right, to this unbelievable author that inspires more people around the world. Thank you so much. All right, everyone, I'm really excited because I have my next guest. She is unbelievable. I had the honor of meeting this woman in Bali, Indonesia, and learn more about what she stands for. And my next guest is Sandra Obrien, coming from California. But let me do a proper introduction of Sandra. Sandra Obrien is the creator of the Divine Feminine Warrior Goddess, a movement designed to inspire and guide women to transform their lives by reclaiming their personal power. Sandra is a knowledge broker, sharing what she learned through her personal journey and providing insights and resources for other women seeking their own empowerment. Sandra has a diverse amount of life experiences, including litigation attorney, country club housewife, middle-aged divorce, spiritual energy healer, and exhibiting artist at Burning Man. She is now living her inspired and empowered life near the beaches in Southern California. She's the author of the forthcoming book, Reclaim Your Crown. Well, everyone, just from that introduction alone, I am so excited to introduce Sandra to you so you can learn more deeply about what does it mean and what is her thoughts on the vision of where feminine leadership is going and how can we reclaim our crown. Sandra, welcome.
Rhonda, thank you so much. And I am so humbled to be in the company of such a dynamic group of women. I am inspired by all of you and your stories. And to me, it just crystallizes the importance of our voice and a diverse voice. And that is so, so important to incorporate that as part of leadership going forward. I actually like to look at it in terms of how can we incorporate more feminine energies into leadership in the future. As we probably already know, we hold both masculine and feminine energies within us. And typically men have more of the masculine energy and women more of the feminine energy, but that's not always the case. And it's really something that focusing on the energies that we need to bring to leadership is what I would like to see. It's not just a matter of course, we need more women in leadership positions, but we need more feminine energy in leadership positions. And what that looks like, the feminine energy tends to be more of an allowing energy. It is a collaborative energy. It is the energy of, it's intuitive and receptive and allowing. It's an energy of being. Masculine energy tends to be the very intellectual energies, the action, the doing kind of energy. And you can have imbalances in both of those energies. And we really need to be using both. And the key is in the balance. And what we bring to each situation, sometimes we're going to need a little more masculine energy. We need to get stuff done. And sometimes we need a little more feminine energy. But can you imagine how consciously bringing in feminine energies into leadership can really transform our world? Energies of collaboration and cooperation and a holistic awareness and consideration of different situations and other people. And that can truly change the dynamic landscape of leadership around the world. When you look at it, I mean, just look at the world leaders today, female leaders. We have female leaders in New Zealand and Finland, Norway, Taiwan, and Germany. And they are changing the face of leadership. They are taking dynamic action, but also tempered with empathy and compassion in making their decisions. They are leading their countries in a world crisis with the COVID-19 virus, but they are doing so, they're bringing their feminine energies to balance out the decisive, the action that needs to take place, but they're doing so with empathy and compassion. This is balance. This is what we need going forward. And as I said, it's like part of my mission here is to help empower other women, to inspire and guide them to transforming their life by reclaiming their personal power. And finding that balance and finding your balance between masculine and feminine is the key to that. I had a situation where, yes, I've had a variety of life experiences that brought me to where I am. And in doing so, I was able to get back in touch with both masculine and feminine energies that had really been suppressed. And so that's why I try to, through Divine Feminine Warrior Goddess, I am trying to help women reclaim those sometimes forgotten aspects of themselves. What makes them divine, what makes them feminine, what makes them a warrior, and what makes them a goddess. And to reclaim their personal power going forward means that they can be leaders in their own life.
Wow, think about this. Sandra, you bring such a new perspective on, and a refreshing perspective on the balance between energies, right? Because I do agree with you that there's so much leading from the front sometimes meant leading as a man or leading with your masculine. But you're now sharing that women and men alone can combine and lead with their feminine side. And the compassion that's happening around the world. I mean, you just cracked open the idea that combining the balance between feminine and masculine energy is really what's going to give us that not only permission to grow and to be and working alongside of each other, but also giving men and women both permission. So it's not just feminine as a woman leader, is it? It's a feminine leadership is bringing the energies. And I absolutely, I'm so not only honored, but I'm so aligned with this thought process between understanding where the energy levels balance. And this is why what you're writing about within Divine Feminine Warrior Goddess, inside of not only your book, but the chapter that you're also writing here in the Design to Lead book, is why everyone needs to be part of this, because we all deserve to know what you know, Sandra. Thank you so much. And I know that the audience is excited to even learn more, to tap even more deeply into that. But I have another author that I want to introduce. And this woman is absolutely divine. She stands in her own crown, in her own space. And she's here to really showcase what it is that we as not only women, but feminine leaders should not only yearn for, but to be part of. And her name is Yamilca Rodriguez. Yamilca is the founder of the Archetype Method. She is an artist, an entrepreneur, an activist. She was also born in Caracas, Venezuela, and currently resides in Louisville, Kentucky. Yamilca Rodriguez has collaborated with the best graphic and advertising agencies in the nation to design comprehensive brand strategies and consumer product innovations. She's facilitated more than 70 design thinking sessions around the world, crafting brand visions and stories that span multiple categories and lead highly influential billion-dollar companies. Today, Yamilca delivers the same one-on-one supporting through her boutique consulting firm, the Archetype Method, specializing in consumer empathy. Well, if that is not the word that we need to hear and understand that's connected to divine women and our feminine leadership, empathy is the word. And Yamilca, let's tap more deeply into that. What is your vision of feminine leadership? Where are we going with empathy? And thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Rhonda, so much. I feel so grateful to be among these amazing, incredible individuals. And I've learned so much from them. I'm so happy that I've got to meet everyone personally that has been the creation of this incredible book. So I imagine the world to be treated as an equal, right? At the foundation of purpose and meaning is your life's work. You know, so for me, the vision of the future of the feminine leader is about embracing cultures, all points of views, building compassion, and really collaborating and through that process of true self-discovery. So, you know, we were all born with a gift, and we have the responsibility to use that gift for good. And with this purpose and meaning comes, you know, this understanding of our unique personality, you know, our what makes us different from one another. And I believe that it's so important for us to not only look at things from our perspectives, but also see where others are coming from. So I've been very fortunate from a very young age. I traveled the world and I got to see firsthand different cultures and how different people interact. And it was kind of this natural thing within me. And then as I got older, I worked in a company where I got to travel the world to share products and talk to people about the products that we were creating and really see it from, you know, somebody's perspective in Asia versus somebody's perspective in Latin America, or even Europe or the US. So it was really having that, what I call empathy, but also putting yourself in somebody else's shoes and really seeing it from their side. So for me, it's really important, and I am very passionate about the work that I do because I help people really build their business in an authentic way. For me, that's key because if you understand yourself fully and through that self-discovery, then you can really look at others and see where you can serve, right? For me, as a leader, it's really important to serve others, to see it from their perspective. Again, as an empathetic person, you need to see where others are coming from. They're not always coming from your viewpoint, your environment. They're coming from other perspectives, and you've got to put yourself there so you can serve them better. And so my vision and my purpose for kind of writing more about this is to be a catalyst for transformation, right? Foster this collaboration and really look at this from a change perspective, right? There's been a lot of change in our lives lately, and we really got to embrace that and see the true change that we can be as not just women, but as individuals in the world. So I leave you with this. Be you always. Be kind to everyone. And be brave with what your gifts are. So thank you.
I love it. Thank you so much. I mean, when you really think about the perspective shifts, and I love how you're bringing in empathy into not only big business. You've worked with some of the largest corporations in the world, and have been able to immerse and dive into bringing that awareness into not only helping others develop their own personal brand, but really to stand as, a cultured woman. You came from Venezuela, and a lot of times there's a diversity problems and issues in corporations, and you've proven that isn't something that you're going to stand for. And now you're a witness to showing and to being the best example for not only women, but for those around the world. And Yamilca, thank you so much. I'm so excited. I know that the audience is so excited as well to read your chapter in this book and to learn more about your perspective on what is the DNA of a feminine leader. And so I thank you. Now, last but not least, certainly, I'd love to share with all of you what my views are on feminine leadership and where I believe the world deserves to go. I have been running and working in corporations for the first 25 years of my life, right? That was what I was groomed to do. So I've not only worked in one of the largest corporations in the world, but I've now also built a multi-seven-figure empire while traveling the world with my family. And my perspective on feminine leadership is, when I was a young girl going into university, I was handed a note. And a note was from one of my coaches, because I was an athlete growing up. And I was going into university, and she gave me this note, and I kept this actually in and with me. I have it still somewhere today, but the note was actually a quote from Eleanor Roosevelt. And it said, "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent." And that, to me, is the foundation of what feminine leadership is. And that's actually what's helped guide not only the direction that I took in my life, but also I actually never subscribed into the male or the feminine or the female role. I was brought up believing that women were able to take that seat at the table, that no matter what you wanted, that you could actually have it. And it all came from someone like Eleanor Roosevelt, right? Rosa Parks actually wouldn't give up her seat. She shifted the way women were taking bold stands. And so I see the vision of feminine leadership is confidence. It's showing the younger generations that you can have it too. Like, we're fortunate now today that we're not having to compete as much in this bold man's world, right? But that women can stand, and that our young girls can stand up and say, I want to run a company. I want to run my own company. You know, I quit my corporate position because I actually thought that I was supposed to run that, and I wanted to be that powerful woman. I wanted to prove something to someone. But I believe women today, we don't have to prove ourselves to anything. See, or to anyone. We think about power, and power used to take that bold stand that was like force, right? That physical prowess and financial boldness. But see, power now from women is collective energy. It's powerful, meaning it's more of a feeling than a force. See, being a powerful and a feminine leader means standing for what you believe in. I take stands for not only women, but for girls to say, this is who I am. The Me Too movement came out and shifted the way people and women saw themselves. You know, this feminine energy used to be looked upon as victim or weak. Feminine energy now, and especially in the role, in the leadership role of changing the collective of the way we do things, is coming from power. It's an energy, it's a confidence about them. And as I grew up, you know, where I came from, I didn't have to subscribe to that because of that one small note and quote that came from Eleanor Roosevelt. And so my vision and why I'm so deeply excited and so invested in this book, The DNA of the Feminine Leader, right? The design to lead. Because I believe that we are designed to take a bold stand, and that now women along the world can, and girls can follow along in footsteps of other great women. And it's not about business, it's about beingness. And when you're being, and when a woman and a girl can stand up proudly and say, no, that's not for me. Don't touch me, right? Or I want this. That's power. And so I'm so excited about what the future is to bring, because when I quit my corporate position, I quit because I wanted to raise my daughter and not put her in daycare. And I wanted to show that women can have it all. We can make and build multiple 7-figure empires and still be the best mother that the world could ever imagine, or more importantly, that our daughters or our sons could ever have. And so when I quit my job, it was looked down upon, which I just didn't understand it. And so I want to empower women to know that they have permission to just make bold actions and bold energy and to stand up for what they believe in. See, because sometimes taking a stand does mean standing alone, but no more do women in leadership have to stand alone. Look at this collective energy of women that have come together just to share their experiences. See, that to me is what feminine leadership means, and why I care so much about sharing and allowing other women just to feel that energy that Sandra talked so eloquently about, bringing that feminine energy together and opening up and cracking that power that we all deserve to have. And my daughter, Hanalei, she now has her own company. And it's funny because I think so often of us, we think that we have to be and follow others. Well, because of that one little note from Eleanor Roosevelt, I brought that into my daughter, and she said she didn't even know that there was a man's world. She just said, I'm building a company, and I want to help that. Just like Jodi talked about kidpreneurs, like that is the new feminine leadership, meaning the women, the mothers say, kids, even if you don't have a business or you're not a woman of business, you are still a woman of power that gave birth to a child that now gets to make that decision. So it's standing for all women and standing for all of their future generations, so we can help them become not only kidpreneurs, but womenpreneurs, and to boldly be confident with what they believe in. Because if we're going to teach our daughters to stand next to and in front of, it's actually not even in front of, with boys and men, we've got to get them permission to stand boldly in their power. So that's why I'm so excited to be part of this, and why all of these women, and this is only a portion of those that are inside of this book, Designed to Lead. And I'm more not only honored to sit at this table, but it is something now I believe that more women, we are together, want to show you that there's more tables and there's more seats for you. That the feminine leadership role is coming from not only energy, it's coming from depth of experiences, it's coming from being shamed and bullied like Kathi into now powering themselves into what is the next level? Where do we need to go? This world has shifted. Jodi's showing women how to take their finances and invest, but to retire from corporate or be with their daughters and their sons every single day. She's going to show you how to take your financial future to the next level. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope today that you have learned about the authors of this book and the power this book holds. It makes me think about when you open, let's say, the Bible for the first time, right? And whether you're a religious believer or not, but just think of the energy and the thought that went in to the stories that go inside of these books. The stories that are going to come from this book, Designed to Lead, are all of the energies and the knowledge base that these women are going to be sharing with you. So on behalf of our authors, on behalf of women today that are taking a bold stand for what they believe in, thank you for being part of this series today. Thank you for taking your time. We cannot wait for you to either open the book, to feel the energy, but to also know that you too were designed to lead.